Jean-Page is the Duke of Hastings in Bridgerton. It's streaming now on Netflix, and I mean, this thing is a global phenomenon, 82 million households.
So I hear.
If someone isn't a member of one of those 82 million households, tell us what it's about.
It's the period dramas you know and love, but not as you know them. It's faster, wittier, funnier, sexier, considerably sexier, very glamorous, and just unashamed of its own joy. And so it's kind of, we did our best to kind of subvert the things that you think you know about period dramas and let you have a bit more fun with them, because we all need a bit of fun at the moment.
And this comes from that kind of incredible Shonda Rhimes world, Shondaland, which you were in Shonda world, Shondaland already.
Yes. I've been working for Shonda for the last 3 years before Bridgerton in a show called For the People. I've been doing a New York lawyer, been doing my best kind of fast-talking, high-trouser type of acting. And Shonda didn't actually know that I was British when they were casting Bridgerton. She was just like, I want what he was doing in that show, but British. And then I turned up and we had our meeting. She was like, wait, you're not American? I was like, no, this is actually what I do. You'll be the first person to allow me to act in my own accent for about 6 years. Which was lovely. Wow. And I appreciate that very much. It was great. Not quite my own accent. I'm a little bit more common.
So wait, actually, you are a little bit, yeah. But I was a bit disappointed. I was like, oh.
I mean, I can't hold it back. It's a lot of effort.
Oh, very good. And, of course, the two of you, you share a castmate, Nicola.
Yes.
We do.
Yes.
Yes, lovely Nicola, yeah. And, of course, that's why I started watching Bridgerton. And you're one of the reasons I stopped watching it.
I do my best.
Yeah, actually, because I live alone and there's a pandemic going on, and just watching very beautiful people have a lovely time dancing and having sex, I'm like, I don't want to watch that. Crying, eating beans in my pants. Another episode, I hate myself.
I'll just eat a radish. Oh, but no!
Let's go back to the garden. Balco, no.
You put Bridgerton to the radishes.
They would grow.
But now, do you have a trick to get into it, do you?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I was preparing, I didn't know a Derry accent first off, and then I thought, who do I know? And then I thought, oh, Nadine from Girls Aloud is extremely Derry. And then, I don't know if people will know this, but there was an extremely controversial incident in the early noughties in Ireland.
So good!
It was so good. I feel like it was the first Irish sort of pop culture TV moment. It was Pop Stars, the Irish version, which only had about 50 entrants because we don't have as big a population. So she went on and lied about her age. But she got found out on camera.
Stop it.
Yes.
No.
Oh, no, YouTube it. It's so good!
Lean forward.
Wow.
This is the trick.
How old was she and how old was she?
OK, so she'd gotten into the band, and then her on-camera interview, like the first one to introduce yourself, who you are, she said, my name's Nadine Coyle from Larkhill and Derry, date of birth 15th of 6th, 85, Mechamia, Germany. And then she thinks for a second and goes, what date of birth did I say? No, 15th of the 6th. And then it fades. And she's outed herself on camera. But everyone lost the plot.
Do the phone call to her mother.
Do
everything. Mommy,
do the whole thing.
As Daddy put my passport in the car, Mommy, will you look at my handbag for my passport? And it was all a lie. She knew.
How old was she?
She was 16. She was meant to be 18.
Oh. What is it about you lot pretending you're different ages?
Just
that's
cool,
so
isn't it?
cute, because she wanted to make it through.
That's fine. But then she got in Girls Aloud. It actually worked out much better.
You see?
Her. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything
and
happens for
we
a
ended
reason.
up with an amazing moment of her sobbing in the back of a Renault Espace being driven away.
I also did that whole thing in my audition, and it was very awkward because...
Well, you did it as a speech.
Yeah, but they didn't want me to. It's not like they said, would you mind doing your pre-prepared Nadine Coyle speech? I just sort of started speaking, and they sort of were looking at me, and I thought, well, this could really go either way. You know, it's all the executives from Channel 4 and the director and the writer, and I just started doing it. But I got the job, it's all fine.
Woohoo! Yes! Very good. Something Golden Rochevelle is back in Bridgerton, Season 2. It comes to Netflix from the 25th of March. And, yeah. Queen Charlotte, she's a real fan favourite, and there's a lot more of her in this season.
Yes, there is. She's back with a vengeance, with all her naughtiness and joy.
And it's a really brave thing, I think, they're doing, because that first season was, as we said, so successful. Yeah. But this season, there's a real pivot, and they're focusing on different characters.
Yeah, well, Bridgerton is based on the books by Julia Quinn, and each book is on a sibling of the Bridgerton family. And so our series basically it's an ensemble, but within that ensemble, we have different love stories in each season, which I don't think has ever been done. There's nothing kind of like that out there. So this time round, it's Johnny Bailey, and it's a love triangle. And, yeah, we kind of get to see him blossom and grow into, the man that he becomes.
And do we get to see him? I mean, is it as raunchy as the first season?
It's Bridgerton. So, and it's about love and the kind of escapades that people get up to about love.
Yes.
So,
I'm thinking yes. Yeah.
Yes.
And obviously this comes from the great American showrunner Shonda Rhimes, Shondaland. And one of the things I think people love about the show is the colourblind casting. Was that one of the things that kind of appealed to you about it? That, you know, seeing London being that diverse?
Yeah, I think definitely, you know, you want as actors to be in something that really represents the world that we're living in at the moment, and I think that's really, really important. Yeah, I'm very proud that we're representing, we have diversity, and we're reflecting the world that we're living in.
And I think I read a thing you said in an interview I really liked, that you said normally when you get a part, you're kind of leaning into your dad, and this is the first time you're leaning into your mom.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, I've played the kind of stereotypical black characters. Nothing wrong with that. Very proud to do that. Very proud to represent my dad. But this time round, you know, being a biracial actress, biracial person, I have two cultures that I can tap into. And for Queen Charlotte, she's very, very much based on my mother and that side of my heritage. So, yeah, I mean, I was brought up being traipsed around manor houses in this country and afternoon tea and, you know, all of that stuff, scones and jams and, you know, all of that, you know. So to be able to celebrate her is a real, real joy and blessing.
I mean, I mentioned Bridgerton. I guess what's weird is you're in the biggest show in the world, you're a global superstar, but you're presumably just telling your fridge you're opening.
Yeah, it's just me and the four walls and my cushions, my exceedingly bad cushions that all my friends tell me off for.
But has the postman been impressed to find Reggae Jean Page behind a door?
No, because I don't go to the door because I'm scared of the postie and the tabloids and bits. That's the only bit that's real about the global superstar.
So you don't know what's out there?
Yeah, you don't know who's behind the door.
Lockdown has ended about 3 months ago.
And this is why we don't tell you. You didn't tell me. You didn't tell me at all.
I just don't like an audience. Little Cochran, talking of romantic gestures, I mean, you were obviously very young. Now, you loved a boy.
Yes.
And he lived in Cork, was it?
Yes, he did live in Cork. I'm mortified because he's going to know exactly who I'm talking about. I was only 5. Please keep that in mind when I continue this story. I was really in love with him, and I thought for some reason the most romantic thing I could do was to send him some of my teeth. You'll never look at me the same, will you? Yeah, I wish this wasn't...
Some of your first teeth.
Some of my milk teeth.
Yes, I was going to say, some of your
sort
first teeth.
Yeah,
I love you.
Yeah, wrote him a letter and thought, very romantic gesture, very eye-catching. They'll never forget you if you send them your teeth.
the cutest thing I ever...
But,
How old was he?
Also 5.
5?
I feel like...
was he 36?
Who knows? Who knows?
I feel like he'd have thought somebody kidnapped you and it was a ransom note.
Yeah.
Please, Mummy, help us save Nicola.
Or that he was something, the tooth fairy.
I really couldn't tell you. It was just an I've mellowed out since then, thankfully.
Here's another odd link. I can't imagine this will ever happen again. We've got 2 people on the show who've played Queen Charlotte.
Yeah.
Because you were in the Madness of King George.
I was, yes, absolutely. Fee shoes and wigs.
Yeah,
remember the fee shoes?
exactly. I know, exactly.
We used to call them the fucking fee shoes.
And if we see Helen again as there you are. Now, you look fabulous there. Very good wig.
There's the fee shoe.
Fee shoe.
There's the lacy thing.
And your
It's a
wig.
thing.
I feel like Netflix have invested more in the wigs. I mean, is that truck built around your wig?
Nearly.
Is that car just for you as well?
Yeah.
It looks as if it's just for you.
Yeah, that used to rock up every time I needed to go to set.
Wow.
Because I couldn't... if
Also,
I was in a car, I had to kneel down. So I would be on the floor like that. With this wig, if it was a car. But in that, I was able to sit properly.
And what's in it? Is it dense?
It's
There are
cages.
birds and worms, mice and all sorts of things.
Actually, we've got a picture of you getting ready, and it looks like a man's living in it. It looks like you've woken him up.
That's at about 4 o'clock on a very, very heavy day of filming.
The thing is, when you wear these sorts of costumes, often you have to get dressed outside of your dressing room because your dressing room is never quite big enough to incorporate, you know, this enormous thing. And when I did The Madness of King George, we had very low budget. So they gave me this little caravan because we were shooting on set. And I swear to God, it was one of those caravans that I think girls might have used, women might have used by the side of the road, you know, at a truck stop when they wanted to make a bit of money. You know, it had that kind of feel about it. It was like...
Gin nose.
It was like so manky and disgusting in there. And I was supposed to get dressed as Queen Charlotte in there. So I would get dressed outside. I'd get dressed out in the open air because it wasn't enough room in there.
You can't transport you and frock and wig.
No, it's a lot of stuff too. It's amazing.
Just like that, we brought the heat, we set the fire alarms off.
As you're acting overheated the studio.
I know, it's just gone up in flames.
Yeah. Ooh, he is so hot. He is so hot. The fire alarm's gone off.
I'll take that. Can we please keep that in the show so I can have it in the showroom?
I mean, yeah, Reggie's used to this. He walks into shops. He walks into shops, the fire alarm goes off.
This is why I don't do the voice. I knew I shouldn't have done it.
Yeah, that's why he doesn't open the door, because it'll probably be the fire brigade. I'll just check with people who know. Are we all safe in our beds? Oh, apparently we're all good. Now,
hooray!
When we heard about Bridgerton, we were promised it was going to be like this, really raunchy, sexy. And I was watching it. I thought, where is the sex? But my God, once you pull the ripcord, it's non-stop.
There's a bit.
I mean, even you must have been kind of, you know, at the table read, you must have been going, blah, 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 blah. I haven't spoken for pages.
Well, I got my mouth full half the time. Which I was insisting on, because I think that's important to see on TV as well, because I think that is uncommon that you see that kind of power dynamic in raunchy scenes, and that's part of the way that we did want to modernise the show. So the Duke does have his mouth full, and he's proud of it. But yes, there was a fair bit to be done on the show.
Because you're really going for it, but you're going for it in kind of beautiful locations. I mean, like...
And occasionally very uncomfortable locations.
Well, yeah, those library steps didn't look easy.
Yeah, the chiropractor.
But didn't you have room monitors in the stately homes?
Well, this is the problem, because the set, as usual, is more valuable than any of the actors. So if you're in, like, you know, a 200-year-old bed or a 400-year-old four-poster, it has to have a minder. Like, you know, when people kind of bring very expensive jewellery around, they have to have a bodyguard for it. There's a bodyguard for the room. And so at all times, you know, you've got this minimal set, everyone gets very quiet, very respectful, and you derobe and you hit the bed. And then there's also just, like, Fran in the corner, who's just standing there just kind of deciding whether or not to look. She's like, I have to look. I'm not allowed to look. I have to look. Could you please go easy on the bed? It's very, very old. It's not quite so enthusiastic. Oh, do go on. That's the inner monologue that I imagine is going on in the corner of the room.
Yeah, I'll stop them in a minute. And presumably you had to have the awkward kind of family conversation before.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, we've got a family WhatsApp group, so there's a couple of, you know, flashing red light emojis and the odd peach emoji. Certain people have threatened to rate my peach. But we missed a couple of family members, and so people do enjoy the fact that, like, a couple of cousins missed the memo. And so they're watching the show, and I got a very stern message in my Instagram DMs, oddly enough, just going, there really needs to be a cousin warming. I had to make so many tactical cups of tea. And I left the room and made my tactical cup of tea and came back, and you were still going. So I had to start doing pots of tea. You know, you had to kind of keep building up the...
Three-course meal, a tasting menu, if you will.
Absolutely.
Do you feel awkward during sex scenes?
No, not really. Not when they're done right. Because we've talked a lot about our wonderful intimacy coordinator.
Yeah.
So it's scripted, just like a dramatic scene, except physically scripted. So you know where your hands are going to be, you know whose hand's going to be where, at what point, how you react to that. It's literally just choreography, at which point you
takes
get to
the
focus on
embarrassment
acting.
out of it, I suppose, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
it takes the embarrassment out. It also takes the risk out because also that you can. It's like choreographing a fight scene. You can do damage if you're not careful with your co-stars.
Yeah.
And
Did
the
you look
joy
at that
is you get to feel
photo
safe.
when the screen froze of me on Good Morning Britain? Did you use that maybe as
I thought that was your
inspiration?
audition. I thought that was your audition. I was about to call up the producers and say, have you seen that? We've got an expert.
You could be the intimacy coach.
Couldn't I, Jazz?
I'm pretty sure I make that face a couple of times, to be fair.